Hello and good afternoon. My name is Martin Cowart, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Prayer Power Hour, where we've been gathering every day at noon Eastern Standard Time to create a virtual sanctuary, a refuge from all of the drama that's going on in our world right now. And there is certainly a lot of drama. And the purpose of this group is to find a refuge, a place for us to come and love and support it, to come and love and support each other and share our stories and what we've learned from a place of spiritual wisdom. And I specifically talk a lot about the wisdom teachings of Jesus here on this Contemplative Prayer Power Hour. And a lot of people aren't even familiar that there are wisdom teachings of Jesus. Most people are familiar with more of a belief system that we created out of our own sort of patriarchal need to own power, really, is my belief about most of what current religious organizations in the West look like and operate from. But there are, we know, and that when there's another whole side to the story of Jesus, the man, the human being who lived, and he really came to teach us a path to what he called the kingdom of heaven. And that's another term that's falsely misunderstood as some place we go when we die, when we leave the planet, if we behave ourselves. And again, that is absolutely not what Jesus was talking about at all. It's really more of a metaphor of a higher level of consciousness. He was talking about the same thing of what Buddha called the enlightenment, the spaciousness, the emptiness. Uh, Jesus called the heaven because it was spacious, um, and he had and that's what we call it, the kingdom of heaven. It's not certainly not a place we go if we behave ourselves. It would say the kingdom of God is at hand, and what the kingdom of God is, it's a place of no fear, because fear, perceived fear anyway, specifically, is something that's just primarily something that we human beings are the only animals in the kingdom that actually have this capability. And I would say that it is both a curse in some ways, and it's also a blessing because that's how we navigate the world. We we learn as a young person, for example, not to put our hand in a fire because it will burn it. So when we see a fire, we say, danger, don't put your hand there because it will burn it. Okay. Um, there's not necessarily, you don't have a lot of fear around it because you've learned that lesson. Well, that also holds true for a whole lot of things, but it also might mean that the fear you're feeling, the perception of fear, is to wake us up of a perceived danger, of a perceived danger. But don't but what we tend to fall into is when we don't recognize it as a perceived danger, we turn it into a fact. We turn it into a story into the future with a negative consequence that makes us feel bad. And that's when the fear is driving the bus, if you will. So one of the ways we get into a place of no fear is to get to know fear better. We get intimate with that part of ourselves that operates that way, if you will. We need fear. We can use fear as a way to navigate to get through the world. They're like caution lights, but too often it becomes a red light. It's like, okay, stop. Your business is going to fail because of COVID-19. You cannot see clients. You can't do anything. Stop what you're doing and we could become paralyzed. We get a red light that says you can't move forward because you're doomed. There's no solution because everything you thought you knew you don't know, and what you thought you did to make money no longer makes money. You no longer have those resources, so everything's off the limit. You might as well just crawl up in a hole and feel sorry for yourself, which we do. It's called a pity party. And and that's good for a little bit of time. I think Joan Rivers said, when you're feeling a pity party, give yourself a good one and then let go of it and go get on with your life. And that's what I'm going to talk about here, because we don't want to be stuck in that pity party. We don't want to be stuck in that place of fear, and doubt and scarcity. And in our culture here in the United States, and I think probably around the world, we've been dominated by a scarcity mindset, which is a belief that there's just not enough resources to go around. That somehow the creator of the universe only made a limited supply of resources to live in the planet comfortably and have a good time. And so, in order for me to have my share, and for me to be to have a good life, I better climb my way. I better fight my way to the top to get my share, to assure myself what I need to get my needs met. That's a very selfish and narcissistic way of looking at it, and we need a little bit of that in order to survive. But when that becomes so when things shift, instead of when that caution light is that we need to stop and take a little slow down and look around, see what's going on, see what's true, you know, and and then decide from that place, is whatever I'm afraid of actually something I should be afraid of, and I should change direction or stop and go to a different direction? Or is it just a little warning to say, here's a possibility. Maybe I need to rethink this through a little bit differently and find a solution, a deeper solution within ourselves? Because what I'm going to contest is that fear alerts us to a challenge that we need to pay attention to and we need to solve. And I'm going to show you today a simple technique that I've used, and I've been using it every day. It's called faith. And it's a simple, very, very, very simple process. Anyone can learn it to transform fear. That when we get that yellow light that's got us stopped, we stop. We pay attention. Okay, here's something we should be. Here's something we should might want to look at here, because I'm feeling this fear inside of me. And then I say, well, what's this fear trying to tell me? And it's saying that something, there's a perception of danger ahead. That's all it's saying. But our brain can't tell between a perception and a real fear. So what we do is we say, okay, good, something bad might happen, but so that's if things don't change, things don't shift, something bad might happen, maybe. But our brain thinks something bad is going to happen. But what I'm teaching you today is to say, oh, here's the value of the fear. Something bad. It's a yellow light. Something bad might happen. So it's a yellow. Let's stop. Let's slow down. Take a look. What's going on here, and see if it's something. And how do we shift our perception of what is going to happen, so we actually can create something to happen that's going to be in our favor. So we can shift that bad thing that might happen from the fear driver to a positive thing that we want to happen from the love driver. So we shift our internal consciousness. We shift into a higher level of consciousness. Again, what Jesus called the kingdom of heaven, what Buddha called emptiness. It's that higher level of consciousness that is known as unconditional love. It is the power of love, not an emotional feeling, which is another part of the egoic human condition. I'm talking about the creative power of love that creates everything. It has the power, the force to literally burn the fear as fuel to create a wonderful life. You see how all these parts fall in together, and we use the fear as fuel as fuel to motivate and inspire us out of the fear and into the truth. And it's from this place of truth, this place of prosperity and abundance within us, that we begin to navigate the world. We begin to create businesses. We begin to create social and economic structures that actually benefit everyone and not just a few. This is what we're doing right now. We're going through a transformational shift from an old scarcity, not enough world, which is based on a lie, because it's ridiculous to think about it, that the creator of the universe, which some people call God, you call it whatever, I often call it infinite intelligence, but this great big infinite intelligent creative force of the universe, it is pretty powerful, and I'm almost rock solid certain it's not creating from a place of lack. But we human beings believe it. And then we also believe we are somehow lacking. So we have to come up with some ideas to sort of like fry these circuits, if you will, in our brain that are our fear-driven circuits have to be kind of fried to an understanding of love and peace that we don't really understand from the human brain. If that makes any sense whatsoever. So one thing I did on Thanksgiving was I said, one thing I liked about Thanksgiving was that it was a day with intention to living without fear, a day of no fear. And because the reason I say that, because we can't, the scientists tell us, and people who study these matters say that we humans cannot experience fear and gratitude simultaneously. So the antidote to fear is gratitude. And so a day of gratitude, a day of Thanksgiving, is a day of no fear. And I had such a wonderful day of no fear. And I taught the same thing. I said, well, wait a minute. What if we got up every single morning and decided to turn every day, including today, into a day of no fear? Well, how do you do that? Well, I've got a very simple process that I follow all the time that guides me through that caution signal. So when fear comes up, this is what I do and what you can do to get to look at the situation and move forward in life. Don't get in that fear, flight, and fight syndrome, which we often get into when we run into perceived danger. That's the normal instinct. So this is what I'm going to show you right now. It's a little thing called faith. And let me get rid of some of these banners right here. There we go. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. And if you'd like a copy of that, you can go to my Facebook group, our Facebook private group. It's called the Financial Mystics Sanctuary. And in that, you can download a copy of this beautiful illustration. And it's interesting, when I call some of my clients during this Zoom world we live in today, I'll see it on their bulletin boards posted up next to their desk. So they tell me that they really appreciate this, and they use it because it works. That's the beauty of it. This is really based on something I've done for a while, but I discovered this. I created this. What do you call these things? Acronym faith is a way to teach it to others in a simple process. So faith is the bird that feels the light when the dawn is still dark. So what do you do when you feel fear? We say, oh, I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling of shame. I don't like this feeling of guilt. I don't like this feeling of fear and doubt, and I'm not enough, and all these negative feelings that come up when we feel fear. That's how fear works. It generates a negativity within us that makes us feel bad. And it's natural to not want to feel bad, so we kind of want to push that away from ourselves. But I'm going to suggest that this time that fear is there for a purpose, just like that caution light is in the road for a purpose. It's just to alert us that this could be a dangerous intersection. We're coming to an intersection in our life that could be dangerous. So it says that, let's see what it's about. So instead of resisting the warning. Let's just feel it. Really allow it to feel it. And when we feel fear, it will take us into a whole new part of ourselves. And allow yourself to feel the fear and flow with it and fully embrace it. And that's where we get to the word acceptance. Instead of resisting the fear, we accept the fear. And fully accepting what is present in the moment will allow your heart, your body, and your mind to connect to the moment and align with your higher, more efficient power within. You will begin to feel your way home to your source of power. That source of power we call infinite intelligence or the divine or unconditional love. There are tons of words, God, but we all have that God power within ourselves that can solve anything. And that fear, that intersection when the divine and the natural world, the human, when that intersection of the human and the being come together is where we are right now. And faith and fear is that signal, that warning, like, hey, something is about to happen. Let's inquire. Let's see what it is. That's where we get the word I for inquiry. And our emotions connect us to our thoughts and our beliefs of the past. Our emotions connect us to our thoughts and beliefs of the past. So this warning light is reminding us of something that's coming up that feels similar to something that happened in the past that made us feel bad. And typically, it's based on something we are where we begin to attack ourselves, like we're stupid or we're not good enough or we don't have what it takes or we don't have any courage or we're not worthy or often in the world of scarcity we think we're not enough. So that's what this light is telling us. It's triggering this old negative belief system, and that's why we're feeling negative, because it's triggering a negative belief system in our past. So understand that we begin to inquire, what is the lie that I am buying into? What is the lie? And it's usually what we call a shadow belief. And those shadow beliefs are what Carl Jung terms shadow, is those parts of ourselves we hide, repress, and deny. It is a lie. It's a belief system we have created about ourselves to create a false self to protect ourselves. And it's never true. It's always something like, I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. I'm too stupid. I'm not worthy. It's always some self-negative attack on ourselves. That's why we don't like being attacked, but we attack ourselves all the time, and we do it through fear. So the inquiry is like, why are you attacking yourself? We're attacking ourselves because we're in this scarcity belief system. So then you say, well, is it true? Is it true that you're no good? Is it true that you're unworthy? Is it true that you're stupid? Is it true that you're too fat? Is it true that you're ugly? Of course it's not true. It's just a story, a negative story you made, and maybe someone told you that one day. So out of their own meanness, they said something ugly to you about the way you looked, about the way you dressed, or about the way you thought, or about the way you talked. Could have been a parent always trying to make you perfect, you know? So when something goes, it's not perfect according to your parents' perception of how you should live, you begin to think there's something wrong with you. And then you inquire, you say, no, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly happy being a loving gay man, for example, and being growing up as a member of the LGBT community. We grew up. We understand what it's like to be told you're not good enough. You're a secondary person, because many people's parents, including my own, just wouldn't accept that part of ourselves. So what they would say things to us like, "You're not good. You're a second class citizen." African Americans deal with that all the time with white people. So you have to, so they feel like they're less than. It makes them have an internalized phobia, an internalized dislike for themselves. And this is a way to flip that to the truth, because that internalized phobia, internalized, is based on a lie. And we're learning that, and we're learning that in spades right now in the state of Georgia with Stacey Abrams, with that gigantic, fierce, divine heart of hers, who's changing the whole direction of my home state into something that's loving, more nurturing, and more powerful, because she's opening the hearts of so many people in the state of Georgia. She's cracking open the hearts of people in Georgia to do the right thing and elect two people into positions of power that are going to do the right thing for the people of the state of Georgia and the country. And that's very exciting. It's not true that people don't deserve to have a wonderful life and health care and all the things that we want to have for people, because everyone deserves it. Not just a few. Everybody deserves it. And based in that truth, we're going to get it. So then we get to T, truth and intention. Truth is freedom, and intention activates a purpose. So once we've turned around that old lie, we can flip in a simple way. It's just to flip the lie over. If that fear, that behind the fear is a story that says you're not worthy, or you're stupid, or you're ugly, or it's that self-attack talk, that demon. You say, no, it's not. I am worthy. I'm a lovable, big, lovable, caring man, and I have a lot to give this world. And I want to serve the planet. I want to bring all my resources and bring all that I've learned to the world. In my case, I want to eradicate this scarcity mentality from the world, so that we can everybody can live in the power of prosperity and joy and freedom. Because that's my intention. That's my purpose. When I'm coming from that place of love, joy, and prosperity, that I can set an intention to bring that to everybody in the world. And that's why I do this. That is exactly why I do what I do, because I have the truth is I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I love, and I want to share my wisdom with others so that you too can live the same. And I live a life of love, joy, and prosperity. I want the same thing for you, and that's the truth. So now I've turned my old negative feeling that I wasn't quite good enough now to something that's, wow, I've got a lot to offer the world, and so do you. And then the H, the heart space. Our heart space is the center of all creation. It is the still point within us that unites all of life. It is that still point within that unites and creates all of life. It is our true source of power. And the invitation is to breathe and open your heart, fully accepting the truth of I am. I am. One of the most powerful phrases in all of scripture and teaching is, be still and know that I am God. And that is true for every living human being. And Jesus said, I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. We are all the light of the world once we get our own shadows out of the way. But sometimes we can't shine our light too brightly because we've got too many shadows. We've got too many stories. And this is the way we melt the stories. We melt the shadows away so that we can shine our light in the world and create more light in the world and move us into a new way of living, a way of living that's grounded in this heart space. And when we begin to build our own personal lives, and then we begin to collectively build economic structures and political structures and social structures for the benefit of everyone, and we begin to grow a world based in this truth, then the world's just we're gonna still have our challenges. Don't get me wrong. We're not gonna be in some kind of unicorn, you know, lollipops and roses, but we are gonna feel like the universe has our back. We're gonna have the divine mother is coming back into play. So we feel nurtured, we feel loved, and we have a deep desire within ourselves to love and care for each other. And not so much about having to compete with each other. It's more about loving each other and caring for each other and nurturing and living in truth. And that's just a much more exciting way to live, I promise you. I've lived in the old world most of my adult life until a few years ago when I had this epiphany experience and realized all of my misery, all of my misery and all of my suffering was just based on this really big lie that me and most of the planet has bought into. And that big lie is a scarcity mentality. It's a scarcity mindset that says God didn't make enough for everybody, so I better get my share. Well, isn't that ridiculous? Just look around you and tell me where there's something lacking in this universe. There's no other animal in the kingdom that worries about a lack of resources. Even when the resources are lacking, they find them. They find them. It's amazing. So if anybody would like a copy of that, you can simply go to my Facebook page. Let's see if I can find you a copy of it here. Here we go, Financial Mystic Sanctuary. Let me open that up for you. And let me see if I can show this to you now. Yeah, if you'd like a copy of this, anybody can go and join us at the Financial Mystics Sanctuary Facebook group and look into the filing cabinet right there. There's all kind of cool stuff here. But there it is right there. Faith, a 5-step transformational process. You just go in this thing and you click on that link and you'll get a copy of it. It's just that simple. And I'd love everybody to have it as a gift from me. There's all kinds of cool things in here too. There's even a free course on practicing the art of being present, part A and part B. You can download it to teach you everything you need to know to create a morning power hour and begin to claim that infinite intelligence within you. So there's all kinds of cool stuff, and also it's a great place for us to come and share our stories with one another about our journey into living lives of love, joy, and prosperity, and also to share. It's a safe place for us, like it is here for us to share the obstacles, the fears, the shadows, share our shadows, because that's how we heal, by sharing our stories and telling each other what we're afraid of so that we can heal ourselves from that fear. So that's what I got for you here on this Saturday afternoon. I hope it was some help to you. And I'm glad you joined me if you did today, or if you're watching the replay. I hope that you'll find something new, some little gold nugget of wisdom that will help you to have a day of no fear. Because a day of no fear is a lot more fun. That's the kingdom of heaven, having a life of no fear. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle the other day, and that's when we actually get into a space of consciousness with no fear. That's unconditional love. That's love without any conditions whatsoever, and that means you're not afraid of anything. You're seeing the world through a filter of absolutely pure love. And when you see and when you're in pure love, there is no fear. So it's a process. It's a matter of it's a graduation, but this is the way we do it. It's a practice. It's a practice of getting there, and any of us can do that. And so that can help to you. Wonderful. Love it, love it, love it. So let's meditate. I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes of meditation. So raise your arms up in the air if you haven't already. Just raise them in the air. I want you to feel the power of life. Embody the spirit of life in your hands. It's right there. It's right there. There's if you're seeking to find the divine, look no further. Go inside. We're going to go right there, and we're going to have it in. We're going to spend some time with the divine within right now. That's what we do. That's what meditation is. That's what contemplative prayer is. It's letting go of the human realm, of the mental realm, and entering into our spiritual realm where we have all of our power to create. So put your hands down in your lap, sit up tall like a proud human being that you are. And we're going to start with a little conscious breathing. And that's just like it sounds. We're just going to become conscious of what we do unconsciously all day long. We're going to become conscious of our breathing. And notice we can't control anything out in the world, but we can, under most circumstances, as long as we're not underwater or something. And even there, we can control our breathing to some degree for a little bit of time. We're going to control our breathing. We're going to put the mind's focus completely on the breath. And the breath is like a big circle. Think of the breath as a big circle. It's going in, it's coming to the top, it's going out. It's coming in and going out. And notice what you can do. Notice how you could lengthen the breath on the intake and on the outtake. So make it a little longer. Notice you have the ability to control the breath at the top and control it at the bottom. Think of the breath as a great big clock, face of a clock, just going in and going up, going around. Get very familiar with your breath. Get intimate with your breath. Your breath is the most precious thing happening right now. So breathe. And you'll notice something. The more you focus on the breath, the less you're focusing on other things in your mind. So allow the breath to come in and do its job and sort of loosen up as you soften the brain. And allow the breath to go up into all those thoughts, opinions, and judgments and beliefs that you've been carrying. And just kind of loosen them up, if you will, and let them go. Let them just fall away. One image you might have is of the breath coming in and going up into your mind and just grabbing all those thoughts, all those opinions, and all those beliefs, and literally pulling them down into your heart space with love and gratitude for all the hard work. It's just trying to solve problems. It's trying to keep you safe. Thank it. And let it go. To create some new space, to create some emptiness within us for new creativity, new ideas. Jesus talks about emptying. We empty ourselves out to create space for something new. That's what centering prayer is. It's about an emptying out of the old thoughts, the old ideas, the old perspectives, to make space for new creation, new thoughts, new perspectives. So just let them go and fall into that sweet, sweet space of that surpasses the understanding of the human mind. To a place of deeper knowing within you, that deeper place of knowing that all is well. Regardless of whatever's going on in that human mind or this human world, everything is well. Go into that creative part of ourselves where we know everything is well. Accepting everything as it is and loving it as it is. And be still and know that I am. Allow the sound of the bell and the sound of my voice to wake us up from any work we're doing. I was doing in my head just now. And any beliefs, any narratives, just let them go. The mind's just doing what the mind does. Just let them go and fall back into that sweet, still space within us of love. Allow that sound of the bell in my voice to wake us all up from all of our problem solving and planning and thinking and doing all those things our minds love to do, and just let them go and fall back into that sweet space of unknowing, a deeper knowing within of love. And there's our final bell. Anybody got any comments they want to put into the comment section? Thank you again for joining me today. It's always good to have, it's always a joy just to be in the presence of other people, sharing this journey of prosperity and hope and joy in the middle of all of this crisis, and to be able to step out of the drama and into a sanctuary that loves and supports us. I'm just so grateful for it. So grateful for the opportunity, and so grateful for being here today. So let's make every day a day of gratitude without fear, and let love and prosperity prevail. Thank you so much. I'll see you on Monday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.